Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So in this video I'm just going to talk about 10 movies from 2023 that I watched just recently. So the reason for this is actually I just spent a short time away from home, so away from my DVD collection. So I was staying at a place where there was just some streaming services and I could actually get to a nearby Cineplex as well. So yeah, here are the movies that I watched. First up, there was Jonathan Glazer's The Zone of Interest, which is the Auschwitz set drama involving Rudolf Höss and his family living right beside the camp. And you get to see the family sort of going about their daily routines and chores and enjoying life while obviously the atrocities are going on right beside them, which are actually masterminded by Rudolf Höss as the camp commandant. So yeah, this one actually, I thought it might be a little bit more subtle than it really was, but so yeah, I was quite surprised at just how prominent the sound design was and how much of the camp you actually get to see, even though you're not actually seeing any of the camp inmates or the atrocities that are going on. But yeah, really interesting film. Definitely some use of sound and a few sort of artistic flourishes that Jonathan Glazer uses in the film, which kind of, I'm not sure what I think about yet. They kind of took me out of the experience a little bit at times, but they also accentuate a few scenes as well. So yeah, I'm not sure what I think about all that yet, but yeah, definitely an interesting film. Glad I saw it in the cinema because that sound design really is key. Yeah, really good performance from Sandra Hüller. I mean, it's just quite chilling how she just goes about her sort of family life there without paying any kind of notice or attention to what's going on, although clearly she is aware. So yeah, that's quite chilling. But yeah, really interesting film, and obviously it just keeps that subject matter in people's minds. Like I say, it takes an artistic direction which I'm still processing. I'm not sure if it's the right way to have done it. I don't know. But yeah, interesting film for sure. Next is The Holdovers, Alexandra Payne's film that's set at Christmas time and stars Paul Giamatti, Dominic Sessa and Divine Joy Rudolph. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this one, particularly for those three cast members. Now, Dominic Sessa, I don't think he's actually been in any films before, but he's really fantastic here. But obviously, it's an absolute joy watching Paul Giamatti in this one. Paul Giamatti had starred in Alexander Payne's Sideways several years ago, which was a huge amount of fun. And yeah, he's absolutely great here. Divine Joy Rudolph, obviously getting a lot of attention and seems to be the main contender, if you like, for winning the Best Supporting Actress Oscar coming up soon. Yeah, she's really good. But yeah, just a thoroughly enjoyable story, this one. And yeah, definitely an entertaining watch. Enjoyed it. Next is Society of the Snow, directed by J.A. Bayona, who's also done The Impossible. Yeah, this is a really touching film, quite sensitively handled, telling of the Uruguayan football team that crashed into the mountains on their plane and were then needing to survive for a lengthy period in terrible conditions, running out of food and having to resort to cannibalism. Yeah, very sensitively handled, extremely well shot, and a more appropriate cast, if you like, than the previous film Alive that came out in 1993. But yeah, I thought this was really good. Definitely filming on location makes a big difference with this film, and you get a sense of the scale of where they are and the journey that a few of the surviving crew have to make. So yeah, this was really engrossing. Superb performances. It really sort of makes you feel like you're sort of going through this experience with them. So yeah, I thought this was really good. Society of the Snow. Next is Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and starring Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe. And surely Emma Stone will be picking up an Oscar for her performance in this one. This was a lot of fun, very entertaining, very visual. I'm glad I saw it at the cinema because it has some quite extravagant production design and use of colour, black and white, fisheye lenses, etc. Some of the production design reminded me a little bit of the sort of Jeunet and Caro style that they use in films such as City of Lost Children. This was a really entertaining film. Emma Stone is just incredible in this. Mark Ruffalo very funny as well. It goes into some unusual places. I did think it was perhaps overlong. There was some moments in the final third that I was getting a bit restless with, for the most part this was hugely entertaining. Glad I saw it at the cinema. Next is The Killer from director David Fincher and starring Michael Fassbender. Really enjoyed this one. It's quite comedic at times, quite surprisingly. Not hugely action-packed, although there is a great fight sequence in it. This one's really more concerned with the sort of patience and ritualistic behaviour of an assassin. And I really liked how Fassbender approached the role in this. Very enjoyable. Good one. Next is Nyad, which is the story of Diana Nyad, a 60-year-old swimmer who decided that she wanted to swim from Florida to Cuba. Really perilous swim that involves going through some quite treacherous waters and dangerous marine life that's in there as well. Quite a compelling one, this. I hadn't heard of Diana Nyad before, but she's a very sort of arrogant and outspoken lesbian woman with her partner, played by Jodie Foster, who assists her on this journey. And we've got Rhys Ifans in this as well as a boat captain, helping them along on the mission. This was fascinating because it's directed by Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth Chai Vesahalyi, and they are both really known for doing documentary features, and I've really loved their documentary films, which have been Maru and Free Solo and The Rescue. So here they're taking a slightly different approach because they do use some archival documentary footage, but obviously we've got these actors, Annette Bening and Jodie Foster, in this as well. So this is the first time that they've actually had to direct actors, they do it really well. I thoroughly enjoyed all the bickering that there was between Annette Bening's character and Jodie Foster and Rhys Ifans, and it's quite fascinating to see what they actually had to do in the waters as well, and things they had to go through to keep Diana Nyad safe from all the dangerous sharks and marine life, etc. So this was an entertaining film. I enjoyed it a lot. Next is All of Us Strangers, directed by Andrew Haigh, who directed 45 Years, and starring Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal. This was a really sensitively handled drama, this one, about loss, grief, and isolation. And Andrew Scott's performance in this is just fantastic. He's playing a character who, in his adult life, is still grieving the loss of his parents who died when he was only 12 in a car crash. It's that sense of longing for wanting to see them, talk to them, not being able to let go of that grief. And so we have these really tender scenes of him actually meeting his parents, played by Jamie Bell and Claire Foy, with them sort of being how they were when he was only age 12. And so we're having these really delicate conversations where Andrew Scott, his performance is just so incredible because he's playing these scenes where he's almost a 12-year-old boy again, but he's also an adult trying to explain to his parents where he is now in life. And he has this gay relationship with Paul Mescal's character. It's just emotionally very beautiful film, and like I say, very tactfully done. Based on a Japanese novel, don't remember the name off the top of my head, this was a really engrossing film. I'm glad I saw it. Next was The Creator, directed by Gareth Edwards. This one got a lot of praise, I think, because people liked the fact that he'd made this sort of sci-fi movie where there was a lot of world building in it. So it wasn't just doing another franchise movie. This was something new, if you like, in the realms of sci-fi. And yeah, definitely I liked the way the film looked. All the visual effects were fantastic, but I did find it all a bit dull, to be honest. So I wasn't really emotionally invested in the film, even though everything visually was quite spectacular. Next is The Exorcist Believer, directed by David Gordon Green, who also was involved in doing the Halloween reboot. So yeah, this is a follow-up to The Exorcist, which no one realised they wanted, and as it turns out, no one did actually want. The critics didn't like this, and most audiences didn't either. Yeah, hugely disappointing, but the one positive thing I can say about it is it's forgettable. And then finally, there's Passages, directed by Ira Sachs and starring Franz Rogowski, Ben Whishaw and Adele Exarchopoulos. So yeah, this is a sort of gay relationship drama, if you like, that concerns Franz Rogowski as a bratish director who's in a struggling relationship with Ben Whishaw. It's really not going very well, and he strikes up an affair with Adele Exarchopoulos, and before long has moved in with her, and Ben Whishaw wants him out of the house anyway, but he's still alternating between both Adele and Ben in this. Yeah, it's compelling. There's a lot going on the screen, and it keeps you watching, but like I say, I was never really convinced by any of it. There is quite a lot of gratuitous sex, which I didn't really want to see, but yeah, no, this was well played, well acted. Definitely I watched it because I really like Adele Exarchopoulos, but like I say, all three actors in this are really good. But yeah, not one I'd rush to watch again, but it was good. Okay, so there you go. That's just a brief run through of 10 films from 2023 that I watched recently. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on those. I mean, obviously I have watched other people's YouTube channels, and I know some of these films have already been talked about at length on some of those channels. But yeah, by all means, leave any comments that you have about these films. Please do join me again for some more videos. I hope to see you. All the best to you. Bye-bye.